Okay, now let's welcome Kathy Jimino, the Rensselaer County Executive since 2001. Kathy has previously held positions on the New York State Senate Finance Committee and the Office of Budget Studies and served in the Rensselaer County Legislature for 4 years. Kathy's been very outspoken about the impact of unfunded mandates on her county, and we look forward to hearing from her today. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. The analogy that I most like to use about unfunded mandates is going out to dinner. You go out to dinner with a couple of friends and you tell the waitress at the start, we're just going to split the bill 3 ways. So you and one of the friends order hamburgers and your third friend orders surf and turf. And then a great bottle of wine afterward. And you're left to pay a third of the bill. Well, most of us would probably not go out to dinner with that friend anymore. Or if we did, we'd tell the waitress we're all paying for our own. Unfortunately, in county government, we don't have that choice because the laws made in this building right here say that you will pay for that portion of the state's bill that the state doesn't want to pay for. And so you've heard from many others today before me about the impact of this problem on county government. And it's something that I've been talking about for almost 11 years that I've been the county executive. State mandated spending is a huge burden to us in county government. Recently, state officials have been very forward about acknowledging that problem. And I really want to thank the Assembly minority members who are with us today because they often, and quite often, speak for us in the chamber and propose amendments that would make a difference in terms of the mandates that we're saddled with, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But let me say, when it comes down to it, budgets that get enacted, laws that get enacted, don't always translate into the mandate relief that we need. If we look at this year's budget, we'll see that there are changes to the pension that will help us in the long run. Limits on how much more our Medicaid bills will go up in the long run. But there isn't a lot to help us get through the next year. And the question that we all ask at the local level is, can we survive and can our local services survive until the mandate relief that was included in this year's budget kicks in for us? And what happens if we can't? With a 2% property tax cap that's been mentioned, something that's very necessary in this state, not just for political reasons, but because local taxes in New York State are 80% higher than the national average, making it very difficult for us to attract businesses and families, much less keep the ones that we have. But with that 2% tax cap in place and the growing cost of mandates, what gets threatened are the local services that we provide at the county level. This year's Rensselaer County budget, 2% tax cap would allow us to raise $1.1 million in additional revenue. Unfortunately, the cost of the increase only, just the increase in state mandates, was $6.8 million. The difference is made up by spending cuts. And those spending cuts are for those local services that aren't mandated. That's whether or not we can deliver a lunch to our homebound seniors. That's whether or not we can take our veterans to their medical appointments. That's whether or not we can pave our roads and highways. And let me ask you this, how do we attract people to our county and say, come invest in our county when we can't even invest in it ourselves? That's the predicament we're facing. How do we turn our backs on our veterans who put their lives on the line for this country? How do we turn our backs on our frail seniors who have given so much to their communities? These are the choices that we have to face every year in budget. And it stinks, I gotta tell you. It stinks to have to make those choices. We've looked at reducing costs on our own wherever we can. We've renegotiated labor contracts to reduce our health insurance costs. We've replaced equipment to reduce our energy costs. We've combined departments. We've reduced staffing, including through some 48 layoffs in just the last year alone. We've brought in volunteers, and we've done countless other things to control the costs that we can. As a result of that, our local costs are 11% less than they were 5 years ago. Our state mandated costs are 54% higher than they were 5 years ago. The state needs to take a lesson. They need to look at what it is that we're doing in county government. They need to be frugal. They need to order hamburger instead of steak and shrimp. We need your voices. We need to tell the state that we need this mandate relief and we need it now. If we're going to be able to maintain these local services, if we're going to be there for our seniors, if we're going to be there for our veterans, for our businesses, our homeowners, if we're going to be there for our kids, we need that mandate relief now. And it's only down here that that can happen. It's only the changes to state law that can happen by the state legislature, signed by the governor, that will make a difference, that will allow us to preserve our local services. You know, it's going to take political guts, we all know that, but it's way past the point of being necessary. It's absolutely essential. We need the state to stop unfunded mandates now.